Well, most importantly, what does blockchain mean for logistics? Oh, I don't really know. I can't see into the future what it really means, but I can only, stab at it, guess at it. Well, through understanding a little bit about blockchain and its the capabilities or the potential, what that technology is all about. And being the logistics professional or the freight forwarding professional, then I can try to imagine what that would mean and how that can be applied into logistics. I guess the first part is that, well, why does it need to be applied into logistics? Let's ask that question. Well, if you look at logistics, there's so many different sets of hands. In the world of moving stuff from A to B, because there's so many sets of hands, there's so many potential for errors and mistakes. And, if we have blockchain identifying each and every step along the process, it will cut out a lot of the human interactions that is currently done today, especially by way of, having a data set, right, that is identified with a particular blockchain code or whatever it is, that will remain true from the initiation to the end. So the chances of manipulating that is next to zero if going by the true concept of blockchain. And therefore, in theory, it should cut out all of the human errors, and it will cut out a lot of human errors. And that's where I think is one of the biggest value of what blockchain will mean to cargo flow, in the world of cargo flow or logistics. Another thing, obviously, is the world of having to identify where the goods come from, right? That is a big issue, because in the world of a lot of counterfeiting, in the world of legitimate trade versus illegitimate trade, this blockchain has a tremendous effect or power to really do away with a lot of these fog, if you want to call it that, right? And again, by ascertaining where something is originated, you can keep a solid track record where the piece of freight started and where it will end up. Through blockchain, you're going to be able to keep that data set uncorruptible, or the integrity of that data set will be always kept. The implications of that is massive. We understand in theory how all of that works, but how does it actually work? And this has always been my question. I think if you're viewing this video, this is probably your question too. And to be frank, I don't think anyone can answer that succinctly or correctly or accurately, because for blockchain to really have impact on real world society, there has to be adoption, right? There has to be adoption, not just by the mum and dads and you and me's of the world, it has to be adoption by governments. Because cargo flow, international cargo flow, relates to international borders, international regulatory bodies, in different countries, customs regulations and authorities and their rules and so forth. Without that adoption, I cannot see blockchain being applied to the truest essence of that technology effectively, right? Because no one accepts it. Therefore, how can you apply a technology when nobody accepts it? And I think that's going to be the biggest roadblock to blockchain technology when it comes to logistics, and for that matter, anything that we want to use that technology for. It's the adoption of the technology. I think we still have some time to come before blockchain technology will be truly applied in its most efficient form. Because we first have to understand it, we have to then accept it, then we have to adopt it, right? And that there's simply too many variables for that to have a smooth path of progression. That simply isn't the reality. You just look at the news today, a lot of fear is in the crypto market at the moment. That's collapsing at the moment, right? Talking about NFTs, that's very interesting. Concept of NFT, I think, will have a massive role to play in logistics. I don't want to say what yet, because I think if you know logistics and you know how freight movements work, you should, and if you understand a little bit about NFTs, you should be able to put one and one together. But I won't say on this particular video yet, because I'm interested even to apply this theory to my own business and see how it may work. But I think NFT has a massive role to play in the world of cargo flow. Definitely a subject that's it's very high on my list of interests. It's something that I'm struggling to understand and learn on a daily basis. But at the same time, I can also understand that this is very much the future of my industry. It is the future of a lot of our industries, how we operate with the idea of blockchain. It is a powerful tech, and right now the status quo is simply battling against this tidal wave. So that's about all I want to say at this stage. You know, I'm definitely no expert on blockchain. I know a little bit about it. I've done some study. I'm an expert in logistics. So therefore, this is simply an opinion piece, and this is me just talking about what is literally on the top of my mind, and say it as I see it and think it. So thank you so much for your time. That's it from me.